So, yeah,
Exactly. And one of
amazing.
the biggest lessons that has been in my journey as learning that and accepting the identity as someone who has a different ability or a
Mm-hmm,
disability um,
mm-hmm.
is asking for help.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. So today we have Dr. Mary, and I can't wait for her to share her story and all of her knowledge with you because she's really going to help you out. So, Mary, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So, I am Dr. Marie Gasper Hovat. The doctor in front of my name is because I have a PhD in art history. I work as a professor of art history, and as kind of a side hobby, endeavor, business, I don't know what it is yet. I work as a coach using a system called human design. And I integrate, and human design is, it's kind of like a personality typing system crossed with an astrology reading.
Okay.
So there's a lot in it that helps you understand why you do the things that you do, and what it is that that moves you, that motivates you, what it is that you're here to bring to the world. And I cross that with coaching that uses a system called EFT tapping, emotional freedom
Mm-hmm.
technique, and using human design mixed with EFT tapping. I help clients release stuck energies that are holding them back, emotionally, physically, psychically. It pulls and allows stories that we've been telling ourselves, or that maybe our families have been telling themselves for generations, to
Mm-hmm.
be released, let go of, and moved on, so that we can be telling awesome, like, better stories about ourselves, about our families, about our histories, and about our futures.
Well, that's really awesome. I know it's very unique, which is really cool, and it's also really powerful and very helpful. So, when you're working with your clients, like what's like one of the first things that you usually go over with them to kind of get them started?
Well, so the first step that has to be taken is I need them to run their human design chart. So I have
Okay.
link on my website, and I can give that to you for the show notes.
Yeah,
People
that'd
can
be
run their
awesome.
human design charts for free on my website. And I can't remember. Did you run yours? I
I
was
did
just gonna
not. I was
look it up.
gonna. I haven't yet.
You haven't yet? Okay, cool. I was just gonna look up and
Yep.
see if I could find you. And based on what comes up, so you put in your location of birth, your date of birth, and your time of birth, and that shows me what it is that all sorts of things about who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, how your energy works,
Hmm.
what best sleep patterns are for you, where you feel most comfortable, why you feel most comfortable, how you interact with people, what it means when you run up against like signature emotions. So
Mm-hmm.
there's 4 basic signature emotions that come up with human design: frustration,
Yeah.
anger, disappointment, and bitterness. And
Mm-hmm.
each of those correspond to what call are like I think of them as like road signs.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2 of those key signature emotions with my type. I have anger and I have frustration. And when I run into anger, I know that part of the reason why I have this outburst of anger is because I jumped into something,
Mm-hmm.
just like, I want to do this. I need to do this now.
Yeah.
And I forgot to inform anybody that might be affected by my doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
so they interrupt me, I get angry, and that happens. So the way it's a road sign that says, hey, you need to remember to inform people that are going to be affected by your sudden, like, impulsive actions. And if you let them know, hey, I'm going to do this, then they're probably not going to interrupt you, and you're probably going to be fine. And there won't be that anger.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so
Awesome. So, like, we can go through and I fill that out, and then you take that info and then go over it with your clients, and then
yeah, and I'll go.
I'm guessing you reveal things about them that they already know, and then they're like, "Whoa, how did you know that?"
Yeah, and I like to start out with any reading, just asking people where they're at. Like, where has life put you right now? Like, and what is going on in your life? Some of my favorite readings to do, and we talked about this briefly when we did our one-on-one before scheduling this. I really love to do parent-child readings, where we look at the child's chart and we look at the parent's chart and we think about, and I can talk to them about where the energetics are, like why a certain child relates to the parent in this way. Excuse me. For example, I was talking, I was doing one of these readings, I don't know, a month or two ago. And this mom has 5 kids, but there's just one kid who is constantly needing like more attention than all 4 other kids combined. And needing like all of this support and all of this, back up to and plans and explaining the plans. And when she said this to me, I started looking at like the 2 charts together, and I was like, oh, this is why this child is this way with you, because you are the foundational support for his like feelings of safety and security. And you're not serving that in the same way for all the rest of your children, but because of the way your 2 charts interact, he has found that like you have a baseline of support and security that he doesn't imagine there's any way of living without having you giving that to him. It was a fascinating reading. Once she told me what was going on in their relationship, I was like, oh, and it all just kind of like jumped into my head. I was like, this is exactly what's going on, and this is why this child needs so much from you. And it's not a problem that he needs this much from you. It's just this is why it's different than your relationships with your other children.
Yep, exactly. Well, that's really, really cool. Very interesting. So, how did you get started in this line of work?
That's a great question.
I feel like we all have a story as to why we got started. So, and
yeah,
they're usually interesting.
It just kind of fell into my lap, one thing after another after another. I had been I don't know, where does the story start? Like, that's the other question. Like, because we all have stories, and it's like, well, where do we start the story? I had been having so I my whole family, we all go to this amazing, wonderful chiropractor. And some of the work that he does is energy work. Some of it's a lot of physical work, but energy gets released when he's doing the physical work. And a lot of work with so he works with traditional Chinese medicine meridians, and balancing those meridians, and that releases energy. And he was watching me as I was becoming increasingly sensitive again and again and again to when he would be working on my husband or my child, and some energy would get released and it would just like hit me, and I would be physically impacted by it. And he finally, when he was working on my husband one time, he finally looked at my husband and he said, she really needs to go get trained in Reiki. So I was like, okay, I don't really know what this is, but sure. And then an opportunity arose for me to go. I don't drive, and so it's a little more complicated. Or I thought it was a little more complicated. It turns out it's not, but I couldn't find a good, like, I wanted to do an in-person Reiki training, and I found a class that it's about 2 hours away from me, and everything kind of fell together, and I was able to get a ride down there and spend a weekend and do the training. And it totally changed my world, blew my mind. And then a couple weeks later, that Reiki center that I did my training at sent out an email, said, hey, we've got this free class on human design. I was like, free class? I don't know what this human design thing is, but sure. And it was online on Zoom. And I was like, perfect. Even better.
Yep.
It can accommodate my need to not have to go anywhere. And and so I signed up for it, and I needed to know everything I could possibly know about it right then and there. And I looked up the woman who taught the class. She mentioned who her teacher was. I looked her up, and then like within the month, she had a major special on her full training, and I was like, I don't know why I need to do this, but I need to do this, and it's all online. So I have a neurological condition, so it makes it a whole lot easier to be able to do things online and not have to go places. So it just kind of fell into my lap, and then it just totally transformed my way of seeing the world, seeing my family, seeing myself, understanding myself. Long story.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's a great story. You know, we all get started one way or another, and usually it's like that. It just kind of falls into your lap. It happens. You know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Well, I like that. So, you know, this podcast is a lot about, you know, individuals overcoming challenges. So would you mind sharing a little bit about your neurological condition?
Absolutely. I love talking about it, actually, because I love educating people about it. So I have a condition called syringomyelia, and it's a condition that is my spinal cord is much, much larger than a normal spinal cord. Spinal cords are usually about 1 millimeter in diameter, and they go through the spinal column. My spinal cord is enlarged with a large amount of cerebral spinal fluid, which is kind of the fluid that moves through the brain and the spinal cord just to cushion everything and move toxins out, move nutrients in. My spinal cord fills up pretty much the entirety of my spinal column. So at one point, it is about 18 millimeters wide, so about 18 times the size of a normal spinal cord. And if you think like if there's any other body part that was 18 times larger, then like it would be probably a deadly condition.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't find out about it. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 40. I was 41 actually. And frequently it doesn't get diagnosed until people are in their 40s. Because you don't start seeing starting to see debilitating symptoms until your 40s. I started seeing, like, in hindsight, I can look back at when I was in my 20s and things that doctors were treating me for ineffectively in my 20s. Now I understand they were the first parts of the syringomyelia presenting. Because I have, my hand is the most physical, like visible thing that you can see of my condition is that my hand won't straighten out. That my hands are like, there's muscle atrophy, and my hand, I can't like straighten my hand fully out, like any of the fingers. And I had been being treated for de Quervain syndrome and what's the carpal tunnel syndrome back in my early 20s on this hand because it was starting to cause me a lot of pain. And I also noticed, like, I from my early 20s, I didn't have a whole lot of sensation on the right side of my body, especially on my legs, or on my one leg. I was like, oh, okay, that's weird that this leg doesn't have sensation. But I didn't think like anything of it, and I didn't pursue it medically. And now I understand that that's related to the nerve damage related to this condition. So it can involve a lot of pain, a lot of nerve pain, and it's kind of it's just, it continues to boggle my mind that I am as functional as I am, that I'm able to have like, I'm able to walk and do a lot, a lot of things. I can't open jars very well.
Hey, you and me both.
But and I can't lift heavy things very well, but I'm lucky to be as functional as I am with this condition, because for a lot of people who have this condition, it's increasingly debilitating, to the point of just like being bedridden with pain. So
I feel like we're very similar, where we're gonna fight as hard as we can and live the best life that we can. One thing that I don't do anymore is, I don't like to say I can't. Instead, I change it to how can I? Because then it just kind of leaves the door open. It gets me thinking. I problem solve, and usually I figure out some way for me to do it. Now, sometimes that way might be just asking somebody to help me with it. But hey, I figured it out, and I think that's a really good mindset to have when you do have a disability of some sort. Because as the doctors both say, "Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that." Yeah, watch me. That's kind of the mindset I have. Like, okay, challenge accepted. So, but I just feel like it opens up, it leaves doors open. When you say I can't, it just kind of shuts the door, and your mind believes that, and then that becomes your added reality.
Right.
So yeah, I love just going, okay, how can I do this? And then I always figure it out.
We just got back from vacation, and one of the options for things we could do on this vacation was to climb basically a mountain, a cliff, practically straight up.
Wow.
And it was something that my daughter really wanted to do, like really wanted to do. And I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. And how I did it was, one of the guides that was with us literally held my hand the entire way up. And if he hadn't, I would have fallen down and killed my dad, because it was a straight, steep climb up, but it was just one foot in front of the other. Keep holding on, and trusting that, like, he's got me, and even if I'm holding on with this hand and this hand doesn't got him, he's got me on that hand. And we made it up, and I made it back down, and it was the most breathtaking experience. And if I'd let my spinal condition be like, no, I can't do that, I never would have got to experience that. And it was it was just one of those moments of complete awestruckness, both the place but also my capacity to pull it off. Like, I'm doing this, and it was, I did it.
That's amazing.
And everybody cheered when I got to the top.
Yay! I was going to ask you how it felt when you got to the top, but you kind of already went through that. Incredible. So that's awesome. I truly believe that we can accomplish whatever we put our minds to. And I hope more people will realize that. and then strive towards bigger goals. I
Yeah.
think that's huge.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
I've taken students on study abroad trips to Rome and also to Paris. And a couple of times my employers have been like, "Are you sure you can handle this?" like because I mean, they can't say I can't do it because
yeah,
that would
yeah.
violate, all sorts of laws.
Yeah.
But they're kind of like, "Are you sure?" And you know what? Like the things that make it really hard for me to do, like, so I teach 100% online all of my classes. And then I do these study abroad programs, which are really intense, like 10-day bursts.
Yeah.
And if I were to try to get myself to campus every day to teach classes in person, it would be debilitating. Like it would be too much for my body
Yeah.
to handle. But doing these classes, like the traveling, the intense, like walking through these cities, I can handle that. I think it's just like it's the sprint and not the
Exactly.
marathon.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and
And
for some reason my body's
it
okay with that.
always helps when you're excited. For me, I can do a whole lot more, a lot easier if I'm excited to do something. So yeah,
So
like when you travel, like when I travel, I go down to Miami all the time,
nice.
and like when I get there, I walk about 10 times as much as I do at home. But it's like I can do it, you
Hmm.
know. So yeah, it's really awesome what we can do when we really want something.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. And when it's the right thing for us to do, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like if it's right for me to take these trips and take,
Mm-hmm.
I've taken like 20, 24 students each time,
Mm-hmm.
and we just
That's
have an
awesome.
amazing time. And yeah, it's the right thing to do.
It is. It is because you're changing their lives also. So
It really
that's
does. 'Cause,
amazing. Mm-hmm.
usually at least a quarter of the students that go on my trips have never been out of our state.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even like rarely out of our county. And at least half of them have never been out of the country.
Yeah.
So it's a huge life changing experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Well, keep doing what you're doing because you're helping a lot of people. So that's
Thank you.
just incredible.
Thanks.
Yeah. So my slogan is "Your abilities are infinite." What does that mean to you?
Your abilities are infinite. that
I think it goes along with what we
means,
were talking about this whole episode.
yeah, I mean, that means to me. So I'm going to drive back on human design here. So
Okay.
there's something in human design called profiles, and
Mm-hmm.
profiles are two numbers, 1 through 6. There's a bunch of different combinations of those 1 through 6 numbers. My profile is a 2-4 profile.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 means something which I'm not going to get into. But the 4 means that one of my like strengths is networking with people, bringing people together, bringing the right people together in the right places to create the resources, to create the connections that need to happen to move whatever needs to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so your abilities are infinite. That was your slogan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, your abilities are infinite ties really deeply into that like networking ability, because my
Mm-hmm.
abilities are not limited by like just me,
Mm-hmm.
because I have so many other people out there who support me,
Yeah.
who help me accomplish the things that I am here to accomplish. On this planet, in this body, in this
Mm-hmm.
that is this body that is my teacher. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And so my abilities are not limited by my body. My body is here to teach me things, and my abilities are infinite because the support of other people around me that I'm connected to, that is an infinite web of support.
Yep. Well, that's amazing because I love networking. I'm building up the people around me. I'm building up, better people around me because, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around. So, I'm building a big network of amazing people, and they're always there to help me with anything I need. So I agree with that so much. Like, it's so important to have good people around you that can help you.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah,
And one of
amazing.
the biggest lessons that has been in my journey as learning that and accepting the identity as someone who has a different ability or a disability is asking for help.
Yep.
Don't stop assuming I need to do it all on my own.
Yes,
That the
exactly.
point is I need to learn to ask for help.
Yep.
And people really like to help. That's the other thing
They do. I know,
that
yeah.
just like blew my mind when I really just was in the thick of things, and because I had spinal cord surgery, and like there was a really long recovery time of that, and oh my gosh, so many people just were thrilled to help out, and
Yeah.
it was a beautiful thing. It just was a little surprising to me how much people really loved to help.
Yeah, it's incredible. So I agree. I agree. All right, so if people want to reach out to you, how can they do that? And what was your website again?
So my website is soulstarattunement.com. And you can also reach me at marie@soulstarattunement.com. I'm on Instagram as Dr. Marie GH. And yeah, you can also find me on LinkedIn, or I'm on Facebook as well.
Awesome.
I'm all over the place. I have a YouTube channel. I'm a little scattered with everything. But whatever your preferred modality of connection.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, I'll put all your links in the show notes
Brilliant.
so everybody can find you.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Yeah, this has been really great. Thank you so much. Like, you are all awesome.
You are too. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.